Good morning, everyone. Welcome to June's Morning with Mayesh show. I'm going to give everyone a couple of minutes to come on in, join us, say hello, grab your coffee. Hopefully you grabbed it already, or your water if you're like me. And we'll get started. I'll do a few housekeeping things, and I'm super excited about today's show. So, if you missed it, and if you don't know, my name is Yvonne Ashton. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Mayesh. I will be joined with Dave Taggy today to answer your flower questions. We love doing this. My teammate Desi is in the control room today. She's going to be helping post links and answer questions, things like that. So just come on in, say hello, and let us know where you're from. I love giving shout outs, and I love it. It's fun. We never know. We always have some of our regulars. We have some people from all over the place. Good morning, Jennifer. How are you? One of our regulars. We love you. Hi, Christy. Good morning over here, too. Yeah, you are watching our YouTube pre-show, so thank you. I appreciate that. It worked. If I get one person, I love it. Before we get started as well, if you can share this on Facebook with your flower friends or in your floral groups, that would be super cool. I really appreciate it. Just let them know that this live video is starting now. If you have questions while we're talking, go ahead and post them in the comments below. If we have time, we will cover them. Otherwise, we'll roll them over to next month's show. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that I will be posting this replay along with our show notes up on the blog. And also, hopefully you heard by now, but we repurposed this show into a podcast. So super excited about that. If you're into podcasts, we are a podcast as well. Also, if you're listening to our podcast replay when you're listening to this, I wanted to let you know that you might want to check out the beginning of the video because we always have a little show and tell that we do for you. So obviously we talk about it and talk about the product and the product names, but the beauty of video is that you get to see things too. But thank you for listening to the podcast. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that today's show is brought to you by our Mayesh Design Star Flower Workshop Tour. We hope to see you at one of our stops coming up. We're going to be in Seattle, Santa Barbara, and Salt Lake. Seattle is next month. I can't believe it's here already. It's crazy. And I feel like when we were planning this, that seemed like so long away, far away. So super excited about that. I also wanted to say good morning to Gina. Hello. She is from Moss Flower, an online flower shop in Denver. Welcome, Gina. Good morning to Delia. Am I saying that right? I'm not sure. I'm really bad with names and pronunciations and things like that. I'm awful. So sorry if I'm not getting that correctly. But she is from Brownsville, Texas. Good morning. And Janelle from Atlanta. Get Hitched. Is that right? Get Hitched Floral in Atlanta. Good morning, Janelle. And I have one of my favorite people also watching, Ryan O'Neill. Good morning. He's from Curate. If you guys don't know about his program, check it out. We love it. And what else? What else do we need to talk about? Ooh, next show. I wanted to make sure that you guys mark your calendar for July 10th. That will be our next show. As you know, if you've been paying attention, I've been doing it kind of every other week. But with traveling and our upcoming show and vacations and things like that, we are just going to do it in July. And not unless I get a special guest that needs to do it on a different date. I might schedule something in between, but for now, just plan on July 10th. Awesome. Yay. We're going to post the link to our workshop so that way you guys see that. Oh, and I need to turn the ringer off on my phone. I always feel like when I'm talking all the time in the show or meetings, I always have people calling me. It's a little crazy. So good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Keep on coming in. Hi, Richard from Chandler, Mayesh Chandler branch. Welcome. I'm glad that you're here watching with us today. And so I'm going to get ready to get started. I'm going to bring on Dave. And while I'm doing that, just wanted to kind of restart just for all of you guys that are joining us. I would just want to say hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us for our June Mornings with Mayesh show. I am Yvonne Ashton, the marketing director here at Mayesh. And for the first half of the show, I'm going to bring on Dave. And then the second half of the show, it's just going to be me talking about marketing things and some Instagram algorithm stuff, which I love and I want to share with you guys. So I'm going to bring on Dave and we're going to get started. Thanks everyone for coming in. Hi, Dave.
Good morning, Yvonne. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, thanks.
So what's going on in the exciting world of flowers? Always so much to share, right?
Yeah, no, well, you all know I'm a fan of the oddities and the textures and colors, so I've got some really cool stuff to show you today. Forgive me, I think a couple of them are repeats of last month's show, but, you know, classics never die, so.
Exactly. I think that's all right.
So I'm going to start out with Centuria macrocephala. And yes, that's a mouthful, but look at that. It's got these kind of golden bronzy pods on it that actually open up with that yellow tuft on top. It's kind of reminiscent of a thistle. The common name for you folks is Marco Polo, which is, I guess, a derivative of macrocephala. This is a relative of the cornflower family. So that familiar blue bachelor button that we've all known since 1970 something. Anyway, this is just a real cool, refreshing take on that. It's kind of got that muted, trendy color, and it's got the really cool textures that everybody loves. And they're in season right now, so get them while they're hot, guys.
Those are so cool. While you're picking up the next bunch of flowers too, I wanted to mention that we're going to post a link to our latest flower 411. It's from May, but it was done in like mid-May. Our purchasing team, it's been a little crazy with the holiday and vacations too, so we're hoping to get another June one up soon, but right now we're kind of posting those in the middle of the month instead of the beginning of the month. Just an FYI on our 411.
Alrighty, moving on. This is called Phlomis rosaliana, also known as Turkish sage. It comes in a pinky lavender color called Phlomis samia. This is actually something that's on our specials this week. It's a little bit reminiscent of the Leonotis leonuris, except it comes in these cool yellow, and I don't have the lavender to show you. But super cool texture. It's borne on tall stems. According to the internet, it grows in very harsh conditions, so it's an easy grower for people. So this is coming in right now. It's really cool looking and adds some interest to your everyday arrangements.
What is that called again?
It's called Phlomis rosaliana.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
We love it when our purchasing team comes up with these really cool things. All right. I think I showed you this last week, but it's one of my favorite flowers. And it's really hard to get because it's super seasonal. This is Blushing Bride Protea.
I love that.
And I believe this came to us all the way from South Africa. So pretty healthy sized bunches right now. It is a little on the pricey side, but I think when you get a big branchy bunch like this, let me try to show you one stem. That's a lot of laterals for one stem. So you're getting your money's worth out of it totally. Available now for the discerning bride. Or the blushing bride.
Blushing bride.
All right. You might notice kind of a color theme on this first. All right. This is Allium siculum. Now, there are a ton of alliums available right now. The giants are available. Unfortunately, we sold out before I could grab any to bring on the show. We've got several different varieties. They come in a range from yellows, mostly purples, some in pinks. This is Allium siculum. It's kind of an umbrella shape. Let me see if I can get this apart. It's really cool because the blooms on it kind of go from cream to almost mauve in the center. So it is on trend with the colors that people are looking for right now. Those kind of muted creams to mauves to, it's got almost a purple tone to it. One word of caution on alliums, they all have a fragrance or odor, if you will.
Yes.
Some of them are very pungent. They smell like cheeseburgers and they make me hungry, but I'm always hungry because I'm on a diet. But
they smell like cheeseburgers?
Well, this one in particular is very garlicky, oniony smelling.
Okay.
Some of the other varieties have what I would call almost a dirty sock smell to them. So that is a consideration when you're using these in bridal work or in close proximity to food and events where people are very close to the arrangements. Luckily, they come on pretty long stems. So if you're using them up high, you can avoid the fragrance factor a little bit. So anyway, allium, super hot right now. Not sure if these were imported or from a domestic source. Sorry, guys. There's the giant ones are coming out of the Pacific Northwest right now on the east side of the mountains. So hopefully next week I'll be able to steal one so I can show you before those go out of season because it's really quick.
Love it. While you're grabbing the next one, I want to show this comment real quick from TG. Cues up the Frosted Flakes and turns on mornings with Mayesh. Love it.
All right.
I haven't had Frosted Flakes in a really long time, so enjoy those for me, please. Because I have to be very careful about what I eat these days.
I haven't had milk in a very long time. I'm experimenting with these different like plant protein-based milks, and some of them are really expensive, but they do mimic a good milk, and I love me a good bowl of quinoa or granola. So, all right. This one, I'm positive I showed you last week. I can't help myself. I love the bright colors. I love the texture of this stuff. This is giant Celosia cristata, also known as coxcomb. This is coming out of Holland. This stuff is amazing. Gigantic stems, or you can tuck it down into a bridal arrangement to just add some interest or your centerpieces. It comes in bright, hot colors, green, orange. This is the hot pink. It comes in a burgundy red. It also comes in a yellow. It's amazing stuff. I can't get enough of it. When it goes out of season, I get really sad because we sell a lot of this kind of stuff for the desert texture that a lot of people do here. So, you know, cool textures like that. All right. This one's for my friend Sue Wood. Ixia.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, this was her favorite flower. And she used to work in this location, and now she's in Milwaukee. And we miss you, Sue. But every time we get Ixia in, makes me think of her. This comes in whites, light pinks, this hot pink color. They're super cool. Just a nice little pop of color and texture for your arrangements. Tall-ish stems, so it can be used up high or tucked down and low, which is always nice when you can have some options with it.
Yeah.
So Ixia available now. I believe these were imported from Holland. So, all right. Here's something from South America right now. We do get it locally. Nice blue flower, agapanthus. And again, longer stems. I don't know if you kind of notice a theme here with longer stems, but we're going for the big wow factor this week. Just another cool blue flower. It does give you some time in the vase. Some of these open blooms will die, but if you can look in closely, there's a lot more buds coming open. So it will keep presenting new open flowers over a period of time. So that's a plus.
Yeah, that's good to know. I didn't know that happened.
Yeah. It's like Aramuris. I showed that last week. That blooms from the bottom up. So you kind of have to maintain it a little bit, but then it'll give you some time. Okay. last but not least, I've got a couple different varieties of dahlias. And we love dahlias. We want them all year round. But unfortunately, this is the season when they actually start their natural production and they're not greenhouse grown. So you get these amazing, gigantic heads.
I love it.
And I chose the Cafe au Laits today to remind everyone that when you buy and order Cafe au Lait dahlias, you are going to get a cream to pink to mauve to kind of taupey tones. We have no control over this. It is the nature and the beauty of this dahlia that it comes in such a different range of colors, just not only, from stem to stem, bunch to bunch, but by season, they seem to change even darker. I think when the nights get cooler towards the fall, you see the almost purpley to mauve. So super cool. Another on-trend color, or colors, I should say.
Yeah, so. I love those, and they're beautiful. And talking about the color too, I think it's just so important, like as designers, especially if you're new. We had someone that ordered like the red charm peonies, and they thought that they were going to be like, the brand name pop, right? That red, like a bright red, and so that's not their color. It's more of like a burgundy red. So, if you are newer and you think it's going to be one way and you might have seen a picture of it or something like that, maybe on Pinterest or Instagram, there's filters and people mess around with colors, or there's a lot of fake flowers out there too that are tucked into real bouquets. So I think it's just important to kind of have that conversation with your rep if you're counting on a particular color and you really need it. Just to talk that through, just so that way you know what is what. And talking color too, using like what she had used after the fact, right? Like a specific color that's really known, or using fruit or things like that. So that way, when you say blush or certain different kinds of colors, people read it or think something totally different. So having color swatches and examples and kind of what you need will be helpful. But also if you are new to the industry and a newer designer, just knowing to kind of work with more of like a range of color instead of one specific color will save you, I think, a lot of gray hairs.
Yeah, that's excellent advice, because there is a lot of misinformation on the internet.
Yes.
And really, you should be communicating with your sales rep when you're doing events that are very color specific. Color swatches are great. People will email me color swatches all the time. Let's take a photo of it and text it or email it to me. Couple of words that really kind of are confusing to some people and frustrating to others are like coral and peach, because
right.
It can range from peach can range from almost a pale yellowy orange to a pinky kind of peach color, and coral can do the same thing. It can go from orange to almost pink. So yes. Communicating those is really important, which is an awesome segue to the coral ball dahlia that I have next to show you.
Beautiful. Yes.
And again, it does have some of the lighter peach tones with some of the pinky coral tones in it. So dahlia season is on, guys. I know you wait for this all year round. We all complain about the tiny head size that we get on the greenhouse grown ones. There's nothing we can do about it. But when they are growing in their natural season and environment, this is just the amazing stuff that we get. So
love it. And while you're pulling up, I don't know if you have a next one.
I think that's my last one for today. I kept it a little bit light. Oh yeah, I do have something for later though when we get into the greens. So
awesome. So I love Christy's comment. You gotta love the color variations in dahlias. Yeah, you gotta embrace that. So we just want to make sure that people know that that's part of the deal, especially with dahlias and a lot of different other things. But I think we'll talk about that a little bit more later. So I think we're ready for our first question. Are you ready? Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay. So Roxanne, She's based in Chicago. Hi, Roxanne. I don't know if you're watching live, but if not, thank you for sending in your question. She wants to know, what is the one go-to large bloom by season? So she used peonies for an example for spring.
All right. Well,
I love this question. I think this is great.
Y'all know me by now. I like to research stuff. So I actually went through each season in our PO system and looked for highlights. So if I had to give you one flower for each season, summer would be dahlias. But there's so many other things that are large and focal that you can use. For instance, in summer, we get anthuriums, we get artichokes, we get buddleia, we get calla lilies. Those big China mums and chrysanthemum disbuds are available. The tall Aramurus is in right now. Eucomis or pineapple lily should be coming in soon. These are a little bit more linear, but they're still large and focal. Gerberas are always a go-to, as far as if you need to keep your price point down. Right now, the giant alliums are available. Again, I apologize. I really wanted to show you one, but there was not one stitch left in my cooler, so maybe next week. And of course, the giant coxcomb celosia I just showed you. We're getting the giant Icelandic poppies. There's those tropical flowers like ginger and heliconia. Your old staple Asiatic and Oriental lilies are available, and consequently, those are those are year round. So pretty much you can count on those. Let's see, Phalaenopsis stems are very popular now, and we can get some big waterfall shaped ones that kind of arch up and over to give you some huge wow factor. Let's see what else. Protea, we're getting those in right now. A little bit sporadic. They're coming out of Africa mostly. So we're seeing some kings and some of the other cool pink and white varieties. And last but not least for summer, sunflowers. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? They're big, they're pretty. I actually worked at a wholesaler in Seattle, and the owner of the company used to say, how can you not like a sunflower? It's like a smiley face on a stem. I mean,
they're cute. And there's so many different varieties now too. So,
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can go with some muted colors, some of the bronzes. They have the ones with petals all the way into the center. So lots of different stuff.
And some without petals, right? Those black diamond things.
Well, you can actually depetal them and just use the brown center. I think they featured that in the movie The Devil Wears Prada, and it really took off after that. Anyway, big, huge shot of that.
Yeah, I love that movie.
All right, for fall, my go-to is going to be chrysanthemum disbuds. The reason being they're sturdy, they're on tall stems, they're a nice big focal color, and they come in all of those fall colors that you want. The dark purple, the almost magenta, the bronzes, the reds, the butterscotch, almost to an orange tone. They're very long-lasting flowers. They're grown in South America, so I mean, price point wise, they're not really expensive, and you can get a lot of wow factor for it. Consequently, it's also a great sub for a dahlia when burgundy dahlias start to go out of season in the end of October. That's when we rely heavily on chrysanthemum disbuds and the burgundy red colors. So there's a whole nother gamut of things that I found. Again, amaryllis were available. Anthuriums, calla lilies, some of the stuff you're going to hear me repeat because it's grown year round. An interesting texture is cotton on the stem for the fall, which is an awesome texture.
Yeah, I love that.
It was actually featured in a couple wedding bouquets out here in Arizona a couple years ago, and people went nuts over it. We couldn't keep enough in stock, and we actually grow it here. There's a lot of agriculture in Arizona. So moving on, dahlias do start to dwindle in the fall, but they were available last year. Gerbers, ginger, giant coxcomb, heliconia. I mentioned all of those things already. Those are also available. Kale in the fall starts to come back into season. They like cool nights and they like warm days. So they're grown in California, and some of the bloom or the rosettes of the kale that we get from California can be quite large and impressive. So it's super awesome, big focal greens to purples to whites. Your lilies are available also. Marigolds, they do have an interesting fragrance, but they come in that nice orange and yellow pop that people like. I've even seen them in a cream color. They're not as common, but Phalaenopsis stems again. In the fall, usually in November, we start to see peonies coming into season again. They're nothing like the peonies you're seeing now because they are imported. So the head size is about half is what you get out of Oregon and Northern California. But they are available. Who doesn't love peonies? Proteas and sunflowers were also available for fall. So, all right. Winter, amaryllis is going to be my go-to flower there.
I love that choice. That's, I think, the perfect choice for winter.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love it? Large, tall stems, and they got the big focal trumpet-shaped flowers. They come in all your, Christmassy colors, reds, burgundies, and all the variegated white and pink and white and reds. But they also come in other colors that are very interesting also, such as a chartreuse green. They come in oranges and peaches. They come in light pinks and hot pinks. So they're pretty versatile, and amazingly, they last pretty well also. Couple other flowers here. Again, anthuriums, callas are available. Cymbidiums I added to this list. We seem to start getting them prolifically, and they come in a huge range of colors. Nice tall stems. Gerbers. We also start importing again from Japan, usually around the middle of December. So the giant Gloriosa that we get from there would be an awesome, choice for that. We're getting the giant ranunculus out of Japan that have huge head size.
Yes.
Right. As Shelley would call them, the zombie flowers.
Yes.
Gingers and heliconias seem to be pretty year-round. The kale was still really strong last year. We get the lilies in, again, Phalaenopsis. Peonies kind of transition all the way through to spring, beginning of summer. Proteas, and I added Vanda stems to this because we do bring those in out of Holland, and they're amazing. They're very versatile. They're a lot sturdier than you think. They come in all the different cool colors, from purples to white to oranges, reds, yellows. I mean, they're very versatile flowers.
They're gorgeous. Love them.
Oh, okay, last season, spring. So I picked anthuriums. I just think it's a nice big, focal. Who doesn't like a heart on a stem? I mean, right? Come on.
Exactly.
Some other interesting stuff I found were the artichokes were available. Banksias, which some people call bottlebrush protea. They're fairly large, and those are fun. Callas, giant coxcomb, chinamums, I had already mentioned. I added some French tulips to this. Get some nice long stems on those, and they come in a huge range of colors. Gerbers, gingers, heliconia, kale, lilies, peonies, Phalaenopsis. Pretty much mentioned everything. So Those are my go-tos for the season. We'll post a list so you guys can see it on the blog.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely will post that list. So hopefully you guys weren't trying to scribble all of that down while Dave was talking.
Yeah, I went a little fast. Sorry.
No, I think it's great. And I also, when you were talking about kale, it reminded me that I haven't mentioned our new Instagram challenge. I wanted to make sure that I pointed that out and invited you guys to join us. So the next couple of weeks, we have Mayesh Floral Meme Instagram challenge. So we're going to post a link so that we guys can see what's been posted already. Some people have come up with some good ones, and there was one with the kale, the kale, yeah. And we'll also post a link from our blog. Desi will grab that too and put that up in the comments so that way you guys can get all of the details for the contest. And I hope you guys can join us. So if you want your very own Mayesh apron, which I know that you all do, get that so that way we can we'll feature your guys' memes that you create and then send you an apron too. So it's just fun. We love doing these kinds of things, mixing it up on Instagram. So I hope you guys check that out. Also, kind of goes along with what Dave has been talking about. Obviously not like a go-to large bloom, but more of what's available in all the different months. So we have this really great flower guide that we published. So we're going to post a link to that. You can download it, and we call it our ultimate flower guide. It's our 12 months of our flower availability list in one handy dandy document. It's great for consultations and planning product palettes and for new employees as a reference, or maybe even for yourself, because there's so much going on every single month. There's thousands and thousands of products, and so it's kind of a nice, easy reference guide to use when you need that information. So we're going to post a link. Make sure you check that out as well. Cool. All right. So yeah, I see all the links there. Let me know if you guys have any questions. There are a few questions that did come up, Dave. Let me see. I think we've talked about this. Stacy wants to know what's the best way to process the dahlia. Do you know that off the top of your head? I know we have a video about that. I just can't remember what the content of the video was. So I'll in my notes when I put this on the replay in the blog, I'll include a link to that video. But Dave, can you answer that?
Yeah, I think there's a couple different schools of thoughts on this, and I'm going to warn against the first one. The growers on the LA market used to boil the stems, and I don't suggest that for anything. I think it causes more cellular damage than anything. The key is matching the temperature of your water to the temperature of your flowers. So when you receive your flowers, if you're going to be processing them in a room temperature room, make sure your water is at the same temperature level. This avoids any conflict between, the uptake of water in the stems. Make sure you're using the right floral food. I cannot emphasize this enough. And it shocks me that some people still in the wedding and event industry don't use floral food. And there are different types of food for different types of flowers. Dahlias are born out of a tuber. So anything out of a corm tuber or a bulb, you want to feed them with something that has hormones in it that are going to replace the hormones they're no longer receiving from that tuber, corm, or bulb. So it's super important to replace those. Otherwise, you're going to end up with flowers that color fades out on them. With things like lilies and iris, you end up with the edges of the petals curling up and all of the foliage will go yellow. That's why. So knowing your flower, knowing how it grows, whether it's an annual or a perennial, whether it's a bulb flower, is important. And using the right amount of food and temperature control is also the other thing. Here we receive everything in a cold chain. Obviously it's hot, so we want stuff to be moved into the cooler where we already have our buckets ready with the right solution in for holding. It's low sugar, but it has the antifungal in it to keep bacteria levels down. And we want those flowers to be the same temperature so that when we drop them, cut them and drop them in there, we know that, there's not going to be any stress on the flower. I hope that answered the question.
No, I think it did perfectly. Thanks, Dave. And then I have another question from Janice. She wants to know, what is a good mauve color garden rose and a good standard rose in the same color?
Ooh, okay. So my favorite, and mauve is another one of those words that is kind of interpretive. So, right. But if I had to go for like a dusty pinky mauve, in a garden rose, I would go with probably Romantic Antique. It's kind of a dirty pink color with a mauve undertone. If you're looking for something with a little bit more lavender hint to it, There's one called Mammy Blue that's really pretty. It's super sensitive because it's really, really fragrant. So it's kind of a treat when you get it, but they don't always perform real well. But the Romantic Antique has been, genetically modified a little bit. It's not quite as fragrant. It's this really cool, dirty, mauvey pink color. I love it. And to complement that with a standard rose, I would go with Hermosa. It's a newer variety that we just saw in the last, 3 years or so. And again, it's kind of that dirty, mauvey pink, almost muted kind of color. And it's really fun. Some people will go towards Cool Water. It's a little more lavender with a pink undertone. So it's funny because when you Google mauve and you look at all of the color swatches that come up online, you're going to get anywhere from a dirty pink to almost a pale lavender with a pink undertone to it. So again, all these words are kind of transitive and a little bit different to each person that uses them. So having an ombre palette of stuff is always nice when you're working with those kind of unique color palettes. So
it's good stuff. And then I also wanted to add Christy's comment here. She said, Secret Garden Rose, so large. She loves that for mauve rose.
Cool.
Yay. Thanks, Christy.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions coming in, but let me start working on the rest of them, and then we'll hit up the rest. The rest. I saw another one in here I wanted to show. Jennifer says, live by your flower guide. Thank you for providing. So Jennifer loves it. People do, like, I've had requests for different versions and different kinds of things. So, but for now, this is our product guide. I hope that you enjoy it. But if you do have requests or different things that you're looking for or questions that you need help answered, just let me know and I'll see what our team can do. Awesome. Thanks, Jennifer.
And I'll add to that too. Make sure you're always communicating with your sales rep at your wholesale house, because sometimes seasons get pushed up a little early if we get a warm spell. Sometimes they get pushed back if we get a cold snap. So just because it was that way last year doesn't mean it's going to be exactly in the same time frame, any subsequent year. So always communicate. We try to talk with our purchasing team a lot so that, because we're waiting for the domestic peonies to come on. Are they going to be ready for Mother's Day? Some years they are, some years they aren't. So communication is key. Exactly. Having the guide is awesome, and we love that. It's
But it's a guide. It's not a box.
It's 99% accurate, but there are always vagaries of Mother Nature that we cannot control, and also logistic issues. So, communication is key.
Exactly. Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question is from Kelly. She wants to know, what are some good subs for uke? We talked about that in the last show about it kind of disappeared. And so what do people do when we can't get it?
All right. Well, thanks to the bohemian movement that's is very cool looking and minimalist for the flowers. We've got some subs for you here. So I'm going to tell you some of my favorites. Then I'm going to put in another disclaimer, and I'm going to show you something that's happening right now that we've got in our cooler that I've never seen before. So my favorites are Bay Laurel, and this pertains more probably to the wedding and event industry. So Bay Laurel, olive foliage. They've got those dusty bluey green colors when the olive's got that lighter colored back. Purple acacia foliage is awesome. It goes from blue to gray to purples. Grevillea foliage comes in a bunch of different spiky shapes. Some of them have the silver back with a dark green front. Green Nandina out of Florida is kind of cool. It's it's like they cut off the laterals of it, so they're only about yay tall, but they're really lacy and feminine. So we like those to pop down into centers and bridal work. Nagai, which was hugely popular back in the 90s and went away for a while, is back, and it's really hot. And I think it's really popular here because it's very sturdy. It's got a dark kind of almost leathery leaf that resists fading and wilting. It looks a little bit like if you took an Italian ruscus, but you laid it out flat, kind of like a hand. So it's really cool stuff. It shines up well if you hit it with some leaf shine. Another fave is camellia, but here comes my disclaimer. Just like the eucalyptus that is going through, it's actually starting to end its new growth cycle. It's looking better. A lot of other greens are doing the same thing. They're doing their new growth cycles. So right now, camellia is off crop for that reason. It blooms and then kind of does this thing where it gets all these tender tips on it. So we have to wait now for Mother Nature to harden those tips back up before we can cut them. Otherwise, we ship them to you. The first thing that happens, all the tips wilt, they turn brown, they die, and then it's a credit waiting to happen.
Right.
So there's a bunch of stuff that's doing that right now. It's super important to communicate with what's available. There are a lot of options. You know, you can even go to your old leather and lemon as a backup, just as a base, and then accentuate with some other greens that are really cool. Anyway, I wanted to show you this. This is something I've never seen before. We just got it in. Thank you to our purchasing team for coming up with cool stuff. It's called Blue Hebe, and it has a kind of mini eucalyptus-like look. I don't know how much this is going to focus, but really cool stuff. I mean, you could totally pop that into a bridal arrangement. Obviously, it's a little price prohibitive to do in garlands and that kind of stuff, but we like it. We like the unique stuff. So
very cool. All right. My puppy just opened my door. Did you guys see that? I don't know if you can see him or not. I can't see him on my screen, but he just walked in and walked right out. Next question is from Kelly. And I think this is a good one to talk about. And there's a lot of detail that goes into this. So she was saying she's having trouble understanding quality tiers on product. How do you request higher grades on certain items? Maybe we already have a resource on this. And Kelly, we actually don't, because it's very complicated. And I feel like this is kind of a salesperson type of thing. But I brought Dave on to see how we can kind of tackle this question in the show. Dave, what say you?
All right. Well, I kind of went all over the spectrum on this. And I almost wish we had someone from our purchasing department, because there's so much more to this than what I can explain.
Right.
So grading is used for one of two things. It's used to indicate the stage at which a flower is cut or is available, like in cut flowers, how open it is. It also works in potted material, what stage it's at, how soon until it's going to pop wide open. It also is used to indicate stem length. And in some cases that does translate into head size. Now I know there's a whole lot more science to this, and I almost wish Peter was on here because he could describe the whole rose thing and the grading of that, because there's a whole lot to it.
Yeah, I think it was kind of last minute when this question came in, but I definitely want to maybe schedule that for a future show. Like Peter, I think would be great. First of all, everyone would love his personality, and I've never done a video with him.
Who doesn't love Peter? He's fabulous.
Exactly. So I think you guys would really enjoy that, and he does know, especially about roses. So I think that would be a great segment to do. So for sure, future content, definitely going to do that.
Yeah, he knows so much. It's mind-boggling just to listen to all the information he has on stuff. So I'm going to use a couple examples of where grade is used, more for an indicator of, like I said, mostly stem length here, and that does kind of translate into head size with some flowers. So carnations are standard, select, and fancy, which basically standard is short, select is kind of a medium stem length cut, and fancy is a longer cut. Alstroemeria is also graded by fancy, select, and super select, so short, medium, and long. The super select Alstro does have a larger head, and sometimes it has more blooms on the stem, so it can indicate a better or a higher end quality in a lot of cases. Roses, there's a bunch of grading on there. The one that we use the most as salespeople is the centimeters. So do you need it short to go in a bridal bouquet or centerpiece? do need long stems because you're doing a rose arrangement, just roses and long stem vase. So longer stems on roses can equal larger head size. I like to order 60 centimeters for all my wedding work because I want nice big blooms that are going to open big and fat and take up a lot of space, because the more space they're taking up in your arrangements, the less cost you have initially on product. So I'm going to segue this into Mayesh is known for carrying higher end luxe blooms. We're into the luxe bloom procurement. We pride ourselves on carrying the best of the best. Mayesh reps know their clients very well. We accommodate you based on your personal preferences and needs. For instance, most of our wedding and event clients only want the best, tall, sturdy stems, large blooms, in vogue colors and varieties, and we're experts at making your installations truly magical. So,
love it.
We do also offer more economical choices. We keep a well-stocked inventory in our Mayesh market. That's our online www.mayesh.com. You are buying full boxes of flowers through this market program. It's like having your own Mayesh broker in Miami. It's a bulk purchase discount on your cost. The quality is excellent, but it's geared more towards a frugal buyer and people who are buying in larger bulk. And by doing that, you're getting a lower cost on it because there's less labor for us. The box comes in, the box goes out. You're doing all the work, processing and all that stuff. So we are also able to quickly assemble a purchase order or a quote with our best guess on pricing that can be emailed to you for your approval. This ensures that you're in budget and you're able to make alterations before the product is in transit. This saves everyone money in the long run by reducing excess inventory. So basically, to surmise everything, always discuss the particulars of what you need with your sales rep, including your budget. We've got a bunch of different ways we can, help you get the end result that you want. We work really hard to get you exactly what you need. So.
Great answer, Dave. Thank you. And there's a whole lot that goes into that too, so yeah, definitely communicating with your rep is, I feel like, key to a lot of things. Awesome. Good. All right. I have more questions. Let's see. What else do we have? This is a good one from Trisha. She said, just got Blushing Bride Protea from Mayesh Charlotte. They had much brighter pink on them than last year. Is this a quirk? And so I think you can talk a little bit about that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's a few different hybrids of Blushing Bride, and some are darker pink and some go to almost a pure white. They usually always have some hint of blush pink in them somewhere. So it really kind of just depends what's available from our grower and what we can ship in at the time. So if pink is really popular and that's what our growers are growing, then we're going to be heavy to that. I will say that you can always manipulate the color a little bit with some Just for Flowers paint, and like a white or an antique white, just with an airbrushing on there can mellow your color gradient down. But talk to your sales rep. If you need white Blushing Bride, then tell them it needs to be whiter as opposed to pinker, and we'll definitely shoot for exactly what you want. Again, there are some things that are out of our control, and a lot of it is supply and demand based on importing stuff out of other countries. So,
right. Vicky had a good question too. She said, "Do you have information on the proper flower food for different flowers?" I feel like that in itself could be a whole show, but I know you're a big proponent for flower food and properly processing flowers. So do you just want to take a minute and do a quick answer to that one?
Yeah, I would almost want to have someone on the show who would be a little bit more expert in the chemical side of things. There's basically two types of floral foods. You've got your bulb flower foods, and you've got just your standard annual type food. You basically want to have the sugars in there to help you feed the plant and get the blooms open and keep the colors bright. You want the antifungal in there to keep bacteria levels down in your water and keep your plants clean so that they're not, prone to disease. Like I said, with things like dahlias and other bulb flowers, they do have additional needs, and that's the hormonal balance that they're missing from the corm or tuber or bulb that they were born on. So again, you can wiki, you can Google, you can look at a lot of this stuff and figure out what's, a bulb perennial type thing and what are annuals, and you can adjust your food based on that information. Or, even call a Mayesh rep. I don't think we have a complete list that we can put out for you, but we'll be glad to research that kind of stuff. That's what we're here for. We're experts in that kind of stuff. And if we don't know it, we're going to find it out somehow. We're going to research it for you.
Yeah. And I'll reach out to some of my connections too, because I think that is, again, another good idea for a future show. So we'll talk more about that and get more information and hopefully maybe put together a guide too. I think that's a great idea. So thank you.
Summer project.
I know, summer project. We have a lot of summer projects, but we're working on it. I think that's it for now. That really great stuff, Dave. Thank you so much. And I'm going to move on to marketing unless you have anything else that you wanted to talk about real quick.
No, unfortunately, I have to get back to work. My people are waiting for me. So, but it's been a pleasure being here with all you guys. Thank you so much. Send us your questions. We need more questions.
Yes.
The earlier we get them in, the more we can research them, the more intelligent the responses I can give you. I work fine on the fly, but I really, really am a huge advocate of research, so that I'm giving you the accurate information so we can all do our jobs better. I mean,
exactly. I always learn something new, so this is great.
It's been a pleasure being here with you guys. We'll see you all next month.
Thanks, Dave. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, Yvonne. You too.
All right, so you all stay with me because I still have a lot to talk about, lots of marketing things. I have a couple of questions from our viewers, and so I'm going to hit those up right now, and then I'm going to talk about the Instagram algorithm. I get excited about this stuff, and so I want to share it with you guys because I think it's going to help you with your marketing for your business. Good stuff. All right, so our first question that I have is from Heather, and she asks me, why do I stream on Facebook instead of YouTube? So my quick answer to that is I feel like when I go live, I do a live pre-show on YouTube, and I get a couple of people that watch live, but not a whole lot. People aren't hanging out on YouTube the way they are on Facebook. So usually people go to YouTube, they're watching what they need to watch, and then they leave. Facebook, people are there, they're kind of clicking around, they're watching things, they have it open. At least if you're in my world, in the marketing world, I have all my social media tabs open on my computer constantly, so that way I can do whatever I need to do. And so Facebook is just kind of, I have a more engaging audience live. And also I use a program called Be Live to do a talk show, to do this show. So to go live, I've gone live on YouTube, I've gone live on Instagram using my phone. But when I'm doing this talk show type of format, it's better for me to use Facebook because Be Live, it helps me manage my green room and the broadcast and all of that, which connects to Facebook, not YouTube. So that is why I am here on Facebook with you guys today instead of YouTube. I hope that answers your question, Heather. But if you have more information, definitely would love to answer those questions. Let's see, TG, say, I have YouTube Red and YouTube Live would be great, but I totally get doing it here. Yeah, I mean, if Be Live connected with YouTube, I would totally test it out and see how it worked. But this is where I'm going to be for now. Not unless one of the platforms has a great platform to do like a hosted broadcast the way I have with multiple people and showing different things on the screen and all of the different functions that we use for the show. So once they start developing that, I don't know if they will or won't, or if maybe they'll buy out, be live eventually. Who knows what will happen in the world of technology. If that happens, I'm always changing how I'm doing things. That's the part of what I love about my job, is that it's always changing and there's something new to learn. All right, guys. The next question I have is from Charlene. She wanted to know, how do you change your category listing for Facebook and Instagram? Changing the category on Facebook is pretty easy. You can just go into the help section if you're not sure, but you can go into your settings, change your category. I feel like the main thing that Charlene had an issue with, and what her real question was, is how do you change a category on Instagram? So for her, if you go into onto your profile and go to edit it and try to change the category, you'll notice on Instagram there isn't a florist category at all. I clicked around just to double check, make sure for you guys, but it doesn't exist. And I'm not sure why, because you would think like the categories in Facebook would match the categories in Instagram, since they're kind of one big happy family, but that's not the case. So Instagram instructions were, if you want to change the category that appears on your Instagram profile, your business profile, you'll need to update the category from the Facebook page associated with your business. So even with that, a lot of people are still having issues. They'll change the category on their Facebook page, and then it's not showing up on Instagram. So I'd love to know how many of you guys have that issue. And, maybe say, I'm having that issue. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to the category that you guys have on Instagram, but I would love to let me know if you're having this issue. So if you are, here is what worked to solve Charlene's problem. So what you need to do is reset your Instagram to a private account, personal account. Then you select the category that you want on Facebook, like florist, and then you switch your Instagram account back to a business profile. So if you are a business profile, go back to a personal one. It's not going to mess anything up. Then go into Facebook, switch it to florist. If it isn't already, just maybe change it to something and then change it back to florist in Facebook. And then go back to Instagram and then change it back to a business profile. And then you will see that you have the proper category, florist, on your Instagram account. So I hope that helps. And let me know. If you have other issues or can't figure it out, definitely message me. You can email me at yashton@mayesh.com. You can message me pretty much at any messenger. I'm really kind of bad at checking the messages on Facebook and even Instagram every single day, just because there's other things that I have to get to as well. But just so you know, if you send me a message, I'll eventually see it, and I definitely will reply to you in about usually a few days. So love that question. Thank you, Charlene. Hope that helps you guys. And let me know. Penny says, how about a how-to to connect Instagram account to an existing Facebook? I love that, and I'll definitely do that, but I need some time to plan that, because I got to figure out a good way to show that, because I feel like a lot of the work is done on your phone, and there isn't a good way. Instagram on your computer doesn't have all of the bells and whistles. So I definitely will work on that. I think that's great. Or maybe I'll make a blog post and can do screenshots and things like that, and then walk you guys through that. I think that would work. Yeah. Good idea, though. Love it, Penny. Thank you. Diana says, yes, I saw that too. Absolutely no category for florist or floral designer. Why? I don't know why. I'm not sure. But maybe one day they'll fix it. We'll see. But until then, at least now you guys have a workaround. So I hope it helps. All right. The next big subject matter that I wanted to cover real quick, we're going to go over a little bit over an hour. I hope that's okay, And sorry, I'm reading a comment here. All right, going over an hour, but that's okay. I think this is really important. So I wanted to go over the Instagram algorithm because they released what they show and how they show it and how it all works. And so we're going to post a link to a TechCrunch article where I got this information. And then I watched a live show with some of my favorite social media people that I pay attention to, just to kind of get ready for this. And so with Instagram has 800 plus million users, guys. It's crazy. And so with their new algorithm that they had just recently released, it's allowing their users to see 90% of their friends' posts and spend more time in the app according to their stats. And their stats are pretty impressive if they have 800 people to use as a sample. I mean, that's pretty good stuff for my geeky brain. All right, so how does it work, guys? The Instagram, IG, that's how I have it in my notes, IG, predicts what you're going to care about based on ranking what matters most to you. So your interest, that's one of the key things. There's 4 different things: interest, timeliness, and relationship. 3 things. Did I say 4? Sorry, I'm getting all mixed up here. 3 different main components of how they show you when and what in your Instagram feed. So interest, what you care about. So for example, I follow, as I've mentioned, and you might have seen my little curly tail of my Shar-Pei puppy. I love dogs in general. I follow different dog pages. There's this really cute Shar-Pei page that I follow called Paddington. Paddington something, but Paddington is the Shar-Pei. Actually just recently passed away, and there's a new puppy, Lamington. It's the cutest thing ever. So if you ever need some, and the photography and the videos are beautiful. I'm pretty sure that the person that runs the page is a photographer. So and so I follow that. So obviously I like them. I pay attention to them, and so they make sure that I see those posts, and so I appreciate that. I think that's great. The other component is timeliness or recency. So you'll see posts that were created that day, or you'll see posts that are created like today over posts that were created last week. So again, I think it's important to kind of pay attention again to how often you're posting, right? I don't think it has to be every day. I think it's a good practice to get into, but you know, they're gonna show your things that you're posting today rather than things that you posted a week ago, or they're gonna push it down the feed, and I'll talk about that a little bit more too. Relationship. How close are you to someone? So for example, if you comment on someone's post, or if you're tagged in photos, Instagram's going to use those different relationships to figure out what to show you. So that's interesting too. I think that's a good thing. For the most part, I think there's going to be people that maybe try and game it, right? They're going to post people that have nothing to, or pages that have nothing to do with those photos. But I would be aware of doing kind of shady practices like that, because then they'll work it into the algorithm that if you're posting things and then people untagging it because they don't want to be associated with that, or they're not in that photo, they're going to push your content more, and you're just going to get dinged. So, you know, be professional and just, do best practices, but building those relationships are key. And I think that's the point of social media, right, guys? So those are the 3 main components, and obviously there's a lot more detail that goes into it. So again, if you want to learn more, check out that article that we posted. But I wanted to talk about 3 other factors. Again, it's nothing really surprising, but it makes sense and it's good to know. So beyond the main 3, interest, timeliness, and relationship, there's also a few others. So frequency, following, and usage. So frequency means how often do you go into Instagram, and then they go ahead and figure out what's the best thing to show you since you last visited. So if you're visiting more often, you're going to see more new things. Or if you don't go in there very often, they have, again, a wider range of things to figure out what to show you based off of the first main 3 things that we talked about. The next thing is following. So the more people you follow, the wider breadth of the people and pages Instagram is going to be using to pick from, which means you're going to see less of anything like one specific author, right, guys? And so this is an issue for me with our Mayesh Instagram page, because I follow thousands of people. We have a fairly large following, so I try to follow other people back, but then I feel like it becomes an issue because I don't always get to see everyone that I want to see or that I need to kind of keep up with. There's like certain people that I like to pay attention to, influencers and trend makers and all of that. And so, you just got to kind of be aware of that. And then usage is how long you're spending on Instagram will affect what Instagram's going to show you. So if you're on there longer, then Instagram is going to have to dive deeper to show you more fresher, newer content. And so it's just really interesting, right, guys? I think it's just good to know these types of things again. So when you are planning your social media marketing, you kind of know what is impacting what people are seeing and what they're not seeing. I see a couple questions. Hold on, let me just read real quick. Pro Instagram versus personal. I'm a big proponent. You can do whatever you want, and I think there's a little bit of this in here too. But I'm a big proponent for, if it's a business, it makes sense to have a pro or like business account, just because you get the statistics, you get more functionality, you can promote posts, and there's just a lot more things that you can do to get more value for your business. So that's my really quick answer to that, Penny. I think that's a really great question. Your next question, Penny, I'll probably have to move to the next one so I can do a little bit more research and have a better answer for you. All right, so the last couple of things that I wanted to talk about real quick is Instagram also revealed some myth busters. So I think that's fun because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I think it's important to know these types of things. So the first one is Instagram does not hide posts in your feed. You kind of hear that. I don't know if you guys do or don't, but I do hear that. And so that is definitely a myth. If you keep on scrolling, like for me, I don't feel like I would have time to get to the end, but there is an end to your feed. They will eventually show you everything from everyone that you follow, and you're going to get to the end and you're going to see some type of the end of the feed message, which again, I've never gotten to. Maybe you guys have. I would love to know if any of you guys have seen the end of your feed. But eventually you will see everything. They don't hide anything. Also a myth that they wanted to put out there. The feed does not favor photos or videos, one or over the other. But it's rather, again, it's about what you engage with. So they're going to show you what you engage with more. So if you watch a lot of videos and you like them and you're commenting on them, they're going to pick that up, and then they're going to be like, hey, Yvonne wants to see videos. Or if you engage more with photos, they're going to say, hey, Penny wants to see more photos. So this algorithms are wonderful and they're very smart. And so they're just trying to predict what you want to see more of, and they're going to show you that first. So again, for you guys, for business owners, I think it's important to know this because different people like different things. So if you're only posting photos or you're only posting video because you think one is better than the other, I think you could be hurting your visibility with the people that you're trying to reach. And so I think having a good mix of both photos and videos is really important. And if you pay attention to us, we try to do that. Like on Instagram in particular, we post like short videos. I use a software called Animoto. Desi, who's in our control room, she's helping out creating those Animotos for us. And again, I think that would be a good thing to go over one of the shows. So I can show you how to use Animoto. It's pretty inexpensive. It's not too bad. And I know there's other apps and things out there, and they work a lot of the same way. So we can talk about that if you guys are interested. I'd love to know, like if you raise your hand or just say, I'd love to know about that. Love to know your interest. So let me know and we can go over that. The other interesting thing was that Instagram doesn't favor authors who use stories, lives, and other special features. So I think that's really good to know. But I think also it gets a little mixed up a little bit. So just because it doesn't affect the newsfeed algorithm doesn't mean that there isn't benefit to using them. Does that make sense, guys? So, for us, we like to try and use stories, for example, and do a live once in a while. I don't feel like we do it as much as that we should. But it's just because there's usually more engagement and more eyeballs on it because of the way they're placed. They're placed at the top, they're placed kind of mid scroll. So, they pop up, and it's just really good, a good way to get in front of more people. So again, they're not favoring those things, but there's still benefits of using them. The next thing is Instagram does not give preference to business accounts or personal accounts. So you just have to have the right account for your purpose. If you're a business, then it makes sense to have a business account. Again, do what you feel comfortable with, but I just think, if you're a business, again, I think it was TG, you can't boost a personal post. No, you cannot. So, if you want those features and you want to be able to get in front of more people and you do some advertising, having a business account is the way to go. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, guys, have you ever heard of shadow banning? Anyone? A couple of months ago, I remember seeing like a whole lot, there was a big to-do about shadow banning and what is shadow banning, and people are getting shadow banned, and there's these, hashtags that are getting banned and blah, blah, blah. And if you use them, you're getting shadow banned. It's like a big thing. All this content, all these people going on and on about it and how to avoid it. And so just really interesting. So they wanted to go on the record and say that shadow banning is not a real thing. You can use as many hashtags as you want. You can do whatever you want. You can post as often as you want, but they're not banning people. Now, if you're posting a lot of content, like one after another, let's say you're like at an event and you're posting a whole, instead of using a story, you're posting pictures in your feed, which is great because maybe you want to make sure that you're keeping that and see it and it all flows together and it's beautiful. They're not banning any of your content, but they might use like the most engaging piece of content that you posted in a like small amount of time and showing that first. They're going to show your other content like down the road, but they're not going to show like the 10 pictures all together in someone's feed unless that person's like super connected to you and really engaged with you. So it's again about the user experience and what they're showing them, not about what you're posting. Eventually, they're going to show everything, but there's no shadow banning. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So don't get suckered into like, I think I even saw someone like selling a webinar about shadow banning. Don't get suckered into that stuff. If you guys see something like that and you're like, is this worth it? And you want someone trusted, hopefully you trust me, a trusted source to be like, yeah, that's legit, or no, or that might be a good thing to do, let me know and I'll help you out for sure. Okay, guys? So again, don't be spammy. Make sure, like if you're using hashtags, make sure they relate to your post. Be smart about it because that's good practice and those things will help you. And again, algorithms get smarter and they change. And like if you're using hashtags that don't belong with your posts or just don't make sense and you're just doing it to get in front of eyeballs because it's a trending or popular hashtag, it just doesn't make sense. Does that sound good to you guys? All right. It is 11:14, guys, and I'm losing my voice. And I'm going to wrap it up. There's a few other questions. I'll answer this one real quick. Penny asks, do you use a lot of hashtags? I do for personal, but not the business. And I think, Penny, you're losing out on visibility if you're not using hashtags for your business. I think it's important to use hashtags, especially for your business, because it helps people discover you. And I enjoy going down the rabbit hole. I don't have a lot of time to do that once in a while, but I do it, and I know your clients do it. Potential clients will do it. And so I think it's really, really important to use hashtags for a business. I think it's especially for you guys. For me, it's a little different because we're more national on a higher kind of level and business to business, but I still use hashtags. But for you guys, I think it's really important to use local geo hashtags. So like, let's say you are in Charleston and you're a florist, you would want to use Charleston Florist and Charleston Weddings and Charleston Events and Charleston whatever, So I think that's really, really important to make sure that you are using those types of hashtags as well. And so with that said, I see other questions. I love them. Keep on posting them because I will answer them, I promise. And if you do post a question and I skipped it for some reason, it's because I maybe didn't see it. I try to go through the show and make sure I add everything in that I didn't get to. But if I didn't, message me. You can go to Mayesh.com, use the contact form. You can comment in any of the videos, either on Facebook or YouTube. I always try to send out an email. I post things on Instagram stories. So I see it all. My team and I do. So we'll definitely add it to our next show. So with that, I'm wrapping it up. And if you, again, think of any new questions, you can email them over to me. You can email them to my team, marketing@mayesh.com. That's much easier than spelling my name. And I wanted to remind you guys that our next show will be on July 10th. And now it's time to wrap up and for our closing comments. So first, if you're new to the show, I hope that you like our page if you're on Facebook, follow our channel on YouTube if you're watching then, add our podcast to your podcast streams, and just keep on supporting us. I really, really appreciate it. And if you found value in our show, I hope that you share it with all your flower friends. And finally, I just wanted to thank you again for coming and being a part of the show. I love having you guys. I think this is amazing. I'm so glad to hear that a lot of you guys thought that today's content was great. And I hope to see you guys next month. And with that, I just wanted to say that Dave and I, and maybe Shelly, will be back with you next month. So send in your questions, ask us anything, and I hope you guys have a rocking day. See you soon. Bye, everyone.